The National Commission for Civic Education, NCCE, says it will beef up education in areas like Kasoa, where issues of crime among the youth seem to be on the rise. Following the killing of the 11-year-old boy at Kasoa, allegedly by two teenagers there, a section of Ghanaians blamed it on the lack or low level of civic education and moral values. Speaking to Joy News during a visit to the newsroom as part of this year's Constitution Week, Deputy Chairperson of the NCCE, Kathleen Addy, said, among addressing other issues, that education will be stepped up to address the challenges in such communities.
This COVID has helped us to be more innovative. We've become more aggressive on social media. We are finding that we are able to get the attention of people. Most people are on social media now. We encourage people to follow our handles, all of them, NCC. If you type NCC into any of the social media, whatever, how do you call them? Yes, you will find NCC. So if you type in NCC, you will find it. Pages are very interesting. They're updated very regularly. And so we encourage people to interact with us. So actually, COVID has been a blessing in disguise, if I can put it that way. And because it has helped us to, reach deep into ourselves and think about how do we continue to have an impact? How do we continue to meaningfully remind people of the Constitution without doing the normal things that we do every day?
How significantly has that affected your core mandate of civic education, which is not limited by the Constitution Week?
Yes, of course. Our mandate is not limited to Constitution Week, but our work goes on because, in fact, doing the COVID education even has been a core part of our work over the last couple of months. So, in fact, it hasn't... I won't say it's negatively impacted our work, it's just changed the way we work. And that change cannot necessarily be a bad thing. We still meet people, smaller groups, observing protocols, and even by doing that, we help people to remember that this is the way to live life these days. That today you don't enter somebody's office without wearing a mask. That today you don't go about without keeping your hands sanitized. So as we practice these things, as we continue to meet people, interact with people, smaller numbers, we probably think that we're even having a greater impact. And these innovations are things that we'll keep, even when we don't have to be observing COVID protocols anymore, because we find that it's effective.
How has it filled the resource gap? And we know that the NCC has always been challenged when it comes to resources. How has the dynamics changed because of this innovation that you talk about?
Well, I mean, I don't know which state institution does not have a resource problem, and I don't like to dwell on it. But of course, like most institutions of the state, we have a financing challenge. Over the last year, because of COVID or as a result of the difficulties of COVID, we've actually managed to attract a lot more resources from government. Yet last year, when we reached out and said, look, we need to do this work because COVID is killing people, eventually we did get the resources that we need. We even got an upgrade of our fleet. We were given 50 pickups, and then 25 was taken back to the institution that lent it to us, and we kept 25. After that, we've also purchased a few more. So, like I said, it's been some kind of blessing in disguise, because I suppose that it's brought the need to keep an institution like NCC well-resourced. It's brought that need to the fore. Because you see, if over the years our fleet was maintained by government in, government out, there will be no need to scramble around and look to borrow pickups to do public education. We would have already had a fleet that had been, steadily built up. But here we're really at the bottom, nothing at all. So it is our hope that in subsequent years, every year, we'll get a bit of upgrade on the fleet, we'll get a bit more resources to do the work, so that when there's a crisis, we already have the capacity to be able to deploy the interventions that we need to keep ourselves and our country safe.
What would you have to say about setting up your regional office, the new regional offices, following the creation of the new regions? Yes. We had reports from our correspondents showing that some of them were in a really deplorable state, probably not set up. What is the update on that?
Well, it's not just the regional office. We have many offices that are in a dilapidated state, and we are constantly looking for ways to upgrade the offices, ensure that people have a decent place to work. It's a work in progress. The new regions require that we set up new offices. In fact, a lot of times our offices, we share premises, or the local government will give us space to operate from, or they'll give us a property that is not being used to occupy. And so, I mean, the regions were set up how many years ago? And every regional office is set up. Maybe not all of them in the most ideal circumstances, but it's a constant work in progress to ensure that, you know, in a very short time, all our offices will be 100% decent for human occupation.
And we've seen lately the issue of content on TV, following what we saw with first the Ekuapem Polo, and then with the money doublets as well, the NCCA coming in, you know, cracking the whip. What is the role of the NCCA in all of this? Some have criticized you and said that perhaps you have not lived up to your mandate, which is why it is contributing to what we are seeing.
Well, I mean, if NCCA was resourced to do a lot more, we would have done a lot more. And I'll bring it to you, and I will bring up you media people and the help that you can also give us sometimes. We went to the trouble of doing a whole TV production on Mambapa, the Good Citizen. You know, it was a whole season was produced, you know, and it was so difficult to get it on air because everybody was charging us commercial rates. Now, if we all want to progress as a country, right, and the media will charge commercial rates for a product like that, that is meant to, I mean, not only provide educative content, but content that is also interesting and fun that people can connect with, you know. So we all have a responsibility. It's important that we recognize that as an institution, we do the best we can with what we have. But if we do not have support from key partners, like corporate, like media, then it becomes a problem. We cannot be as effective as we should be if we don't get that support. So I'm hoping that now that we can all see, maybe sometimes it takes a problem for everybody to understand all the different roles that we all have to play as citizens in a country. Now that all these things are coming up, we are hoping that when we come up with different ideas, different innovations, all these kinds of things to address the mindset issues that we all acknowledge as a problem in our country, we will get the support that we need from corporate to media to government and everyone else, so that we'll be able to be even more effective.
But looking at the magnitude of the problem we are faced with, can we expect any specific intervention from the NCCA?
I can only say that we will beef up our education. Fortunately, we have an office in every single district. Whenever there's a peculiar problem in a peculiar district, we make extra effort to ensure that, you know, we come together and resolve that problem. Because, you know, our staff also act as arbitrators and problem solvers in the communities in which they serve. So, in fact, a lot of the reason why people don't even recognize the work we do is that we solve a lot of problems from escalating, because we solve problems at the district level, you know. So this, for instance, I expect that our staff in the district where this happened, or in the metropolis where this happened, will be up to the task, engage the community, and do some additional education around the issues that have come up.